Hey everybody, Mr. Klassen here. Welcome back to our virtual classroom. Although we can't be together in our regular class right now, we can be together here online. So today we are going to talk about a theory topic called Enharmonic Equivalence. So this is specifically for grade 8 students. It's something we typically work on in the spring for grade 8s. But anyone, it's going to be informative for you as well. So we're going to outline two things. First of all, we'll talk about the keyboard and how to lay out the note names on the keyboard and how that's going to help us. And then the second thing is going to be talking specifically about enharmonic equivalence. So let's get into the video. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is this sheet here, which says the keyboard on top, right here. So many of you will know already how to read the keyboard and where the notes are placed, but some people may not. It's important to understand the keyboard because it gives you a framework on which to place the different theory concepts that we learned. So this shouldn't take long, but it should be something that you kind of memorize if you don't know it already. So you're going to take your handy dandy pencil, which you always have with you in your band binder. I'm using my MBA pencil right there, Classic 107 MBA. Alright, so we go into this and do as follows. It says, look at the blank keyboard below, answer the following questions. The white key between the group of two black keys is always named. This we kind of memorize as D. We just know that it's D. And that's something that you memorize and then you know it each time. So once you know what one key is named, name the rest of the white keys in alphabetical order from left to right. Fill in all the white key names in the blank keyboard. So we know this is D, and we can use that to answer everything else. In music, we know once we get up to G, we start over at A again. And we can go backwards as well. Number 3, each black key has two names, a flat name and a sharp name. So this is where enharmonics come in, which we'll talk about in a minute. The black key directly to the right of a given white key sounds blank, higher. So to the right is higher, to the left is lower. So this is higher. White key is C. The black key directly to the right sounds higher than C and is called C sharp. Similarly, the black key directly to the right of G is called, we would call that G sharp. Fill in all the sharp key names in the black keys in the keyboard below. So again, many of you will know this, but it's important to review in case you don't. Number 4 is telling us the same thing, but it's going the opposite way. So the black key directly to the left of a given white key sounds lower than the white key. If the white key is A, the black key directly to the left sounds lower and is called A flat. Similarly, directly to the left of D is called D flat. Fill in all the flat names on the black keyboard below. I will do that and then I will show you on the next screen. Okay, so now you can see that I've completed the keyboard with all the white key names and all the black key names. The black keys each have two names, a sharp and a flat. So this is how we would have all of our pitches laid out on the keyboard. So now for number 5, it says, for each sharp note name, give the corresponding flat name called the enharmonic equivalent. And then for each flat note, give the enharmonic equivalent. So this is where enharmonic equivalents come in handy. It's basically when it's the same note, but called by a different name, or by two different names. So for G sharp, if we're not sure, we look at our keyboard, and we notice G sharp is the same as A flat. So we put an A flat. Eventually we would just know this off the top of our head, but if we need some help right now, we can look at this keyboard that we just finished. So D sharp, same as E flat. Let's do a couple of the flat ones as well. So E flat, same as D sharp. A flat, same as G sharp. I'll fill in the rest and then show you once I'm done. Okay, you can see that I'm complete now with the enharmonic equivalence. One thing to notice is that when you're writing out the letter names, you always write the note first and the sharp or flat after, right? F sharp. That's how you say it and that's how you write it. You don't write sharp F. When you're reading music in notation, you do see the sharp or flat first because you need to know whether or not to make the note a sharp or a flat before you play it. Okay, but when you're writing out the letter names, we put the sharp or flat after the letter name. Okay, so the second kind of subtopic we're going to talk about now is enharmonic equivalence, but specifically how they look and on the staff, and then drawing them on the staff. So we have this sheet, which is on the back of the other sheet we were working on, and it gives you an example saying enharmonic tones are tones that sound the same but are written differently. So we've already talked about this on the other side, but now we're seeing what they look like on a staff. So in bass clef, this would be an F sharp and a G flat, which are the same note. They're just written differently. Here we go with an F sharp and treble clef and a G sharp, or a G flat, sorry. They are the same note, but just written two different ways. And as it shows, these are shown easily on the piano, which we filled that in on the other side already, but here's just another example for you. Notice that there's a couple of other ones that are flats and sharps. There's B sharp, same as C, F flat, same as E, E sharp, same as F, and C flat, same as B. These are white keys, but they do have a flat or sharp name because they're one note away from another white key. Okay, right? We don't use them that often, but when we're talking about enharmonic equivalence, we might use those: E sharp, F flat, B sharp, and C flat. Okay, so we're getting into the actual assignment here, and so A says, give both names for the following notes. So we need to notice, first of all, that we're in treble clef. And if you're not comfortable reading in treble clef because maybe you haven't had enough practice with that yet and your instrument doesn't read in treble clef, there's a little reminder in the corner for you, so you can refer to this if you need to. Lines and spaces within treble clef and also within bass clef. Okay? So we're assuming you know how to find those already. So in A, we have D sharp, and we have E flat. So we notice, if we look at the piano keyboard, that D sharp and E flat are in fact the same note. So these two notes would be, two versions of the note would be enharmonic equivalence. Okay, we're going to keep doing the same thing here. So F sharp, G flat, and again, we can double check, but F sharp and G flat are in fact the same note, so these are enharmonic equivalents. Let's do a couple examples in bass clef as well. Let's pick this one. So this is A flat and G sharp, and we know that those are enharmonic equivalents. And let's do A sharp and B flat, enharmonic equivalents. If you need to, please use these reminders in the bottom corner to help you as you go through this. I'm going to fill these in and then show you. Okay, so I've now completed A and written in all the enharmonic equivalents here. You can take a look and make sure you're doing it correctly. The ones to watch out for are those ones that we said were a bit exceptional. So for example, this one, E sharp and F, we know that those are in fact enharmonic equivalents. Same thing as B sharp and C. We know also that those are enharmonic equivalents too. So we just have to watch out for those because they're a little bit less common. Okay. Another important thing to note is that on your instrument, you're probably used to seeing some of these but not all of them. For example, clarinets and trumpets, you're probably used to seeing E flat, but if you saw a D sharp, you would think, what's the fingering for that? But actually, if you think of it as E flat, you already know the fingering. It's the same fingering, it just looks different, right? Another example might be B flat, right? Trombones, little brass, you might see a B flat and know exactly what that is. You might see an A sharp and think, what in the world is A sharp? I don't know the fingering or slide position. Actually, you do. It's a B flat. You just have to know that it's the same, and then you know the fingering right away. Okay, so let's do the last one, which is B, which says, rewrite the following notes so that they sound the same but look different. Essentially, it's telling you, write the enharmonic equivalent as a note. So let's try this first one. We first realized that this is an A, but it has a sharp. We're in bass clef here, so it's an A sharp. So we look, if we're not sure how to do it, we look at our keyboard and say A sharp. Okay, that's the same as B flat, so we need to write a B flat. So we go in here, and we write a B flat. when we're writing the flats and sharps on notation like this, remember we write the flat or sharp before the actual note. So this is a B flat. Let's do one more in bass clef. So we're looking at this, which is a C sharp. And we look back at our keyboard and we notice C sharp is the same as D flat. Okay, so we need to write it as D flat. That's a little messy, but D flat. It'll be the opposite for sharps. So here's an E flat, and we need to write it as a D sharp. Let's do a couple examples in treble clef. So we have an E flat, and again we need to write it as a D sharp. We have an A sharp, we have an A sharp, and that we need to write as a B flat. I'll fill in the rest and then show you when I'm complete. Okay, so you can see I've finished B as well, so take a look and make sure you're doing things the right way. Take note of specifically this one tricky one, which is E sharp is actually the same as F. So we don't need a sharp or flat for the F, because remember we said E sharp is the enharmonic equivalent of F. Okay, the same thing would apply for B sharp and C. The reason this is really helpful in playing is especially for things where you need to play a chromatic scale, which is every note in order, sharps and flats included. You are able to play it a lot more fluently if you understand enharmonic equivalence. Okay folks, thanks for watching. So that was the keyboard and enharmonic equivalence, the theory concepts. Hope it was helpful. As always, please let me know if you have any questions. Email me, call me, whatever works for you. I'd be happy to talk with you and help you through. And if you have any other ideas on videos, things that you think would be helpful in a video, please let me know and I'm happy to look into it. Thanks for now and have a great day.